So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio.
The club isn't the best place to find a lover, so to you is where I go. Me and my naked heart in your presence, get erect, drinking fast until you overflow. You come over and start up a conversation with just me, and I trust you cause you understand. Then you take my hand, you sweep me away in your peace, and then we start to dance. And I'm singing like, Lord, you know I love your love. Your love's amazing to choose somebody like me. Now I'm gonna follow your lead. If they think I'm crazy, I don't care. I'll say, hey, I can't say enough how you lay down your life so we could be free. So now I'm gonna follow your lead. Come on now, follow his lead. You are love and I worship.
So as you guys come in, this is Beckah Shae, her song.
Show me the truth. Elohim, breathe on me. Let your glory fill this room till everything's not just like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Elohim, breathe on me. Holy, 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 holy. Elohim, breathe in me. Holy, 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 holy. Elohim, breathe through me. Holy, 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 holy. Elohim, breathe on me. Every day you're making me someone brand new. You are love and I worship you. I had no strength left but to cry. That's when you showed me just how great you are, cause you saw me, told me I'd never be lonely. Show me you heard every word I prayed. We talked for hours and hours about your spirit and power, how everything's gonna be okay. With each glimpse of eternity, I found joy in the suffering, found a way where there was no way. And I'm singing like, Lord, you know I love your love. Your love's amazing to choose somebody like me. Now I'm gonna follow your lead. If they think I'm crazy, I don't care. I'll say, hey, I can't say enough how you lay down your life so we could be free. So now I'm gonna follow your lead. Come on now, follow his lead. You are love and I worship you. Whatever you say, I will do. You have my heart, show me the truth. Elohim, breathe on me. Let your glory fill this room till everything's not just like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Elohim, breathe on me.
Okay, everybody. This is a long song, so I will cut that off there. Thank you guys for coming in. Today is Thursday, which is the day that Bareface and me have decided that we're going to do our show earlier because we have pickleball tonight. Yes, true story. And hey, when you have a game that you like to play and it's limited playing, you do everything you can to go ahead and make sure that you can get there, just so you know. So anyway, I want to welcome everybody to the show. It's, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I found out yesterday, and actually I was planning this show yesterday, because I happened to get, I know, right, Phil? I happened to get an email, not an email, a tweet. Where did I get it? I don't remember. Anyway, I get flooded with stuff. But anyway, I got information that this week is actually National Suicide Prevention Week. Kay Warren, the wife of Rick Warren, actually she does a show every week on Google Hangouts, and she happened to be interviewing Sheila Walsh. And Sheila, I don't know if you guys remember, if you're as old as me, you probably do. She used to co-host the 700 Club, and then she left that after she felt she was there for like 5 years, and then she struggled with depression, went into a mental hospital a couple of times, and then eventually she became a woman of faith. She's a very popular Christian singer and author, and she is getting ready to release a new book that's coming out. I think they said in November, which is actually a very raw look at the issue of suicide and her struggle with that and those thoughts. And so I actually posted the video of Kay and her on my personal Facebook page. Those of you guys who are in that account, you already know that, but I think I tweeted it out as well. And I have a real heart of compassion for this struggle because I understand it. I understand it. I understand it personally because for years I struggled with suicidal thoughts and feeling depressed and overwhelmed, even as a Christian, right? And I think a lot of times people think just because you're a Christian, everything's supposed to be hunky-dory and perfect. And that's just not the case. It's not. It's life is real. Life is earnest, right? And we have feelings. God gave us the feelings that we have. We got to deal with them and all that. And so when and then I actually spent time in a mental hospital twice. I don't know how many of you know that, but when I was a younger woman, before I married Randall, I actually spent a week inside of a treatment center for a week. What's the name of your page? Tamara, it's actually my name, Stacy Lynn, and then of course my Bible News Radio page on Facebook is just it's just the page. But anyway, I spent a week in that, and then after Randall and I got married, which was 25 years ago, a little over that now, I put myself in the Minirth-Meyer Clinic, which was a Christian hospital therapy program that was very popular at the time, and also New Life Treatment Centers, which is currently run by Steve Arterburn, is also very popular. But back then, 25 years ago, that was like kind of all the rage. Everybody was doing it. Unfortunately, there was some controversy and unfortunately some unethical stuff that took place within those realms. And there was also one called the Fred Gross Christian Therapy Program, and there was people who were just trying to fill beds, kind of scamming insurance, which was unfortunate. But a lot of people wanted to get help, and I actually went into the program for 3 weeks to deal with my background, which was very abusive, incestuous, sexual abuse, severe emotional abuse, some physical abuse, alcoholism in my family, not so much so violent alcoholism, but there a little bit of domestic violence and, things that nobody should have to deal with, right? And so I went into these programs, I was put on medication, and afterwards felt worse. True story, unfortunately. And for years struggled with feeling depressed, and for years tried to get off medication because I never wanted to be on it. Started doing research and came to my own conclusion about what was best for me. And I know that medication helps a lot of people, so if you're on any, stay on it if it's helping you, because it did help me, actually. One did for a long time, but eventually God was able to deliver me from that particular thing to where I dealt with my depression and things like that differently. I spent a lot of time in therapy. A lot of people don't realize how much time I've spent in therapy. I'm going to tell you, I spent over 15 years in therapy. That's a long time, you guys. That's like half my life. Well, just under half my life, because I've been living now close to 50 years, so it'd be like a third of my life, which that's a long time, man. It's like, a long time for somebody in therapy, especially a good therapist, to put up with you. You're like, oh no, there you are again. Geez, not you again, That's supposed to be funny, okay? Because I've actually sat as a therapist, and, I've had clients I saw as long as 8 years, so that's a long time. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of help, but there's also a lot of shame and a lot of ignorance and a lot of stupidity, honestly, within the church, on many subjects. But, this is, a hard subject. How many hours, did I spend in therapy? Gosh, I don't know. I can tell you that I spent close to $250,000 between all my treatment and education. I can tell you that much. Because that was expensive. It wasn't cheap, Anyway, and so back to this thing with Kay Warren and Sheila. You guys know that Pastor Rick Warren and Kay lost their son to suicide a number of years ago, and he struggled with bipolar disorder, I believe. And a lot of people, don't understand how hard that particular disease is. It's really hard. He got help. He did all the right things, and yet sometimes there's just not. Sometimes things just happen, and we just need time. We need a time of just accepting people where they're at. And, I can tell you that years ago, I would have been way more judgmental than I currently am. And I'm judgmental. I mean, let's just face it, got the gift of gab. And I state my opinions very clearly, but, I've also had friends kill themselves and lost people prematurely and, all that. Randall, will you put up the graphic? So I wanted to show you guys this graphic to show you how prevalent suicide is. And I was going through my shows this morning, and I'm going to talk about Purple Queen in a minute. And in the last year, I've done 4 or 5 shows on this topic. Didn't realize I'd actually done this many. But this is the graphic on Kay's site, kwarren.com/suicide. I just want to, especially for those who are listening to the podcast, just want to go through this infographic here. It says 50 to 75% of all people who attempt suicide tell someone about their intention. So pay attention to what people say. Males are 4 times more likely to die by suicide, and the reason for that is because they typically use guns and things like that. Females attempt suicide 3 times as often. Every day, 113 people die by suicide. And interestingly here, it says suicide rates tend to be highest in the spring months, peaking in April, which actually is interesting to me personally. I would tend to think it would be closer to the end of the year. $44 billion, the economic cost of suicide death in the U.S. annually. That's huge. And 41,149 Americans died by suicide in 2012, making suicide the 10th leading cause of death for Americans. Can you guys believe that? I mean, that is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. It's just killing me here to not, I'm emotional anyway, but to think that there's 41,000 people who lost hope, didn't have hope, in 2012, and I'm sure it's higher now because suicide is even, higher. Now, in 2010, suicide took more lives than war, murder, and natural disasters, which, again, if you think about that, it's crazy. And 90%, those who attempt suicide do not go on to die by suicide. In fact, I had a guest earlier this year who attempted suicide. And you might recall the show that we did with her. She attempted suicide by overdosing on pills, a lot of psychotropic medication, in fact, and she ended up a quadriplegic. She wrote a book, and she told her story on the show. And so anyway, it's interesting. This week, September 10th through the 16th, 2017 is National Suicide Prevention Week. And Randall, if you can get the number up there, if anybody wants the phone number, it's 1-800-273-TALK. And you can go to Suicide Prevention Lifeline.org. So the number, if you're listening to the podcast, is 1-800-273 in the word TALK. And the website is suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Yeah, thanks, Larissa, for putting that in there. All right. So, Kay Warren also says that basically this info on her website is drawn from a lot of highly reputable sources and all that stuff. And anyway, you can go to kwarren.com/suicide and you can actually find this yourself. I think I've tweeted it out, but I'm going to tweet it out again right now. That way, if you don't see it, you can go over to Bible News Radio Twitter account and you can click on it. They have a page here that for Celebrate Recovery, which is their website, which I know some of you are in.
And I believe that the stats there on K. Warren's site are from the American Foundation for the Prevention of Suicide.
Yeah.
And excuse me while I hold this microphone in front of my face. It's because the microphone I usually use is decided to go out. Anyway, many of you know my testimony, and I actually went as far as writing a suicide note. And in that note, I wrote that it's not that I had a reason to die, I just couldn't think of a good enough reason to live. So it's doesn't necessarily mean that bad things are happening to a person, that life is so terrible. Could be someone struggling to find meaning and purpose. They don't feel like they're making a difference, or they just don't see what it is they offer. So anyway, but Christ came into my life. That made the difference, and I realized that he had purpose for me, and with him coming into my life, I had much purpose.
Yeah, and I have to tell you too that, a couple of years ago I was going through some of my old scopes, and those of you who've been following the show since we've been on Periscope, you already know this, but it was about 2 years ago. Vicki Fitch had a friend who died of cancer, and she started a campaign called #TeamRedCares, and Tim Gillette at that time had a friend who had committed suicide. Many of you guys know Tim is Rocker Life Coach. And anyway, Tim shared that his friend, a guy, had every day he posted on his Facebook page that he was doing great, But the next thing you know, the guy died, and it was suicide, and Tim found out, and he was just like going, really? This is like, how did he not know, right? And I remember sharing, I did a scope, and I actually found it. I downloaded it this morning because it was still in full scope in my archives. 653 days ago, I shared on Periscope, that's how long ago it was, 653 days, that when I first started Periscope, and before I even, right after I got on Periscope, one of the first people that I met was Vicki Fitch. And a lot of you guys know right now she's in New Zealand, getting ready to speak at the social media conference, which, if you're following my Twitter, I've been totally tweeting about that for a long time. Well, I was feeling really suicidal a couple years ago. After I moved here to Tennessee, I left my California homeland, where I grew up, and all of our friends and everything. And Vicki came into my life because I saw her scoping, and one of the things that she was talking about was dreaming, believing, and achieving. And she talked about dreaming, and if you understood where I was at in my life and how angry I was at the church and how pissed off I was that the church was filled with nothing but a bunch of liars, hypocrites, and two-faced son of a you-know-what, then you would understand when I heard this woman talk about dreaming and going, yeah, right, you gotta be kidding me. Really? Because a lot of us have been screwed and hurt in church, okay? I'm sorry for being blunt, but it's true. And anyway, so 653 days ago, I said on Periscope that I was really grateful for Vicki because she said that there was hope. And even though I knew that, and I had contemplated suicide back then, when I saw Vicki, she gave me hope. She encouraged me to dream. And of course, as you guys know, Bible News Radio, I hired her to be my coach, and Bible News Radio has evolved into what it is now. It's a community of people, right? It's a community of people. I know Jennifer, my friend, laughs at me sometimes because I call you all people. But you are people. We're people. We're not just images on a screen. We're not. Our life isn't just within this box that you have that you're looking at me on right now. We're actually people with feelings and a heart and feelings. And we care about connection. And yeah, you know, people get pissed off at people. That happens. As Jennifer always says, people are messy. Yeah, right. Amen. I wouldn't say I was the queen of messy, but I am. Well, if you saw my office, you'd go, yeah, you are. But, you know, we're messy. And you know what? People hurt people. And people don't forgive and get bitter. And people get mad and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? In the end, we're all people. As Mandisa put in a new song, we all bleed the same. We all have red blood. Who gives a crap about the color of your skin? You know what I mean? And I was watching Pam this morning. I have to say, I love Pam. I don't get to watch her all the time. But, you know, this racism crap in the church has to stop. I'm number one. It's just so stupid. You know? Anyway, and I'm trying to think of how to say this. So you guys know about Purple Andrea, right? Purple Queen. Purple Andrea. She'd love that. She'd be like, nope, that's not right. Purple Queen, right? Andrea. Now I noticed that she hadn't been in my scopes in a while, and I knew that she was going through some hard stuff, but I didn't know what. But she was part of our community, right? She was here all the time, and you know, I found out this morning that she died Monday. We don't know how, but you know, my first thought was suicide. That's just my thought. I don't know if any of you thought it, but that was my thought. I'm not saying she did. I'm just telling you that's my thought. And if it was, then it's tragic because there was a whole bunch of us here that cared about her. If it wasn't and it was something else, then it's still tragic because she was only like, I think 34, right? So I'm wearing purple. I can't remember if I wore this earlier, but in purple in honor of her, like Larissa, you know, I'm wearing purple. I want to let you know that Pastor Flash, Rick, that she had epilepsy and they're thinking a seizure. Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's good to know. But so then it even sucks even more because that sucks. That really sucks. But she had, she was young and she was a big part of this community. So, but Rick, like I was going to say, Pastor Rick here, he set up a PayPal account for flowers and stuff. And so if you guys want to donate to flowers, you know, for flowers if you go to paypal.me/Rick Costa, then you can go ahead and you can do that. You can donate. I don't know, Bareface wants to put that on the screen. And I think Rick said that once that's up, you know, you get the money. What's the deadline tomorrow at noon or something to give money, and then we'll go ahead and get some flowers or something up there for the family, which is in Canada. Only till noon. Okay, good. So you guys support, you know, I gave $5. I'm not rich, but I want to give something. So, oh, good, cool. So over $100 has already been donated. Good. Well, that'll give some nice flowers. So anyway, so the point is that, you just never know. And we talk about this all the time on our show, right? We talk about how it's appointed unto man once to die, and then after that, the judgment, and that you just never know. You never know. You never know. Whether it's suicide or a natural death, I don't know. But, you know, you just don't know. And so tell people. I probably go overboard telling people I love them. Just so you know. But I mean it. You know, I'm not somebody that just throws the words around and says, oh, I love you, blah, blah, blah. No, I actually do. And I tell people that, and I mean it. And I'm not the type of person that says, you know what, I only love you when I like you. And you make me feel good. You know, if you piss me off, I'll still love you. But, you know, It's hard. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that your aunt died. Yeah, it's difficult. And there's Becky. Hi, Becky. So, by the way, I should say hi to everybody. Melanie is going to be our guest next week, by the way. Of course, Rick already said hi. Lori. Nice to see you, Lori. Michelle, Phil, Mia, Patricia, Jennifer, of course. Dawn and Cheryl, and Mr. Shakerly. I don't know how to say that, sorry. Macchio, Chapel Hill Media, Hassan, and others. I don't know who you are, but yeah. Oh, she lives in New York? Okay, I was born there in New York. New York's a good place. Rick, can you tell me what the hashtag is you guys all just settled on for Andrea? Was it hashtag Purple Queen? Because I sent out a tweet that with purple hearts that said hashtag RIP Purple Queen. So I don't know. Okay, just Purple Queen. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and I will send out another tweet with just that. What do you guys think? How you guys doing today? Anyway, back to the whole suicide thing, though. I still, want to let you know that I get it. I get it. And like I said, Vicki encouraged me way back in the day, a couple of years ago. And, and you just never know. You never know. You never know. It's been a tough week, right? Yeah, I know it has. So you have a loan of over $15,000. Live every moment like it's your last. I always say today is the last day of your life. Unless you live to see tomorrow. Because technically it's correct. Just remember you are not alone. There is help out there. That is right, Patty. Definitely. And a lot of us understand that because we sought the help and we got it. You need $500 to survive. It's good to know. Yeah. It's hard, one thing I want to say about the whole suicide thing is that, I want to give you permission to grieve and to get mad, right? I mean, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is very famous for her 5 stages of grief. Of course, she kind of recanted those in the end of her life, but I will say that, it's okay still to grieve. And a lot of times people feel survivor's guilt, because like you're left thinking, well, what could I have done different and all that. And I just want to say that you got to remember that every person is responsible for their own behavior. And I know it's tendency in us humans to go, you know what, I wished I could have done blah, blah, blah. And that ultimately comes down to the issue of whether or not you can control somebody else, right? And the truth is that we can't control anybody. The only person we can control is us. And God gave us the Holy Spirit to, one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit is self-control. And so when we struggle with certain things, God, He even provided that for us, right? He provided the Holy Spirit to give us the ability to have self-control. And so, that's huge when you think about it. I'm going to block these idiots. You guys block the trolls if you don't mind. I'm not in the mood for a troll today. And yes, I know trolls have souls. If that's your calling, go for it, but it's not mine right now. It wasn't suicide, which is a good thing. But you can understand why I thought it might have been, right? Okay, I'm just being honest, and I know she would be laughing at me probably. Oh yeah, But you know what? I just have to say, she struggled with depression and we all know it. So it's like, it's not an unrealistic thought that I had. And if you're honest, how many of you thought the same thing before you knew, right? Okay, just saying. But here's the thing. I want you to have the permission to grieve, and I want you to think that it's okay to have your thoughts. See? Yeah. All right. That guy's a troll too, sorry. See? Okay. See, I'm not alone then. I don't feel bad, but I'm probably the first person to say it. And that raises up the question, are you checking in on people? Are you paying attention to other people, right? I mean, that's... Anyway, back to my point. Sorry, these trolls are bugging me a little bit. So, so how do you deal with it in the aftermath? I guess that's my question. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about Andrea because that apparently wasn't the case, thank God. But if it was, what would you feel? I mean, it's a good discussion to have. Would you feel guilty, like you didn't do enough, or what? You have an uncle that committed suicide. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard topic. I mean, my job as a retired therapist, I dealt with this a lot. Jennifer, my girlfriend there, Dr. Jennifer Fee, is a psychologist, and she, she's great. She deals with these issues too. There's such a stigma with mental health. Yeah, in fact, I got a press release. I want to tell you guys about this, and I'm going to share with you this here. There are actually quite a few resources coming out. I felt betrayed when a loved one committed suicide. Yeah, I know, Jen. It's crazy. There's actually a new book out. I almost ended my life, but I found the light at the end of the tunnel, and I know others can. Amen. Suicide hotlines don't care when you talk to them. Well, I can tell you when I was feeling suicide, I actually called a suicide hotline and they put me on hold. True story, okay? But I will say that it's not so much that they don't care, it's that they're understaffed because so many people don't have hope. I would say that. All that. So all that. There's actually a new book called Descriptions and Prescriptions, and it's by Dr. Michael R. Emlet, and it's a book that talks about medication and it's a biblical perspective on psychiatric diagnosis and medication. And Jennifer, you might want to get this to review. I should hook you up with the publisher to do that, but I'm going to just read it. It says here, as Christians, we should neither blindly accept nor entirely dismiss psychiatric labels, diagnosis, and medicines that are prescribed to help those who are suffering. Descriptions and prescriptions provides a balanced, biblically and scientifically informed approach that will help us understand and minister to those struggling with mental health issues. So, that's a new book. I can get you more info on that if anybody wants that. But that's out. And the good news is, and there is good news, okay? The good news is that if we're aware, right, if we can look at the myths and we can look at the different things that people, say in the research and stuff out there, you can be more alert of what the signs are, right? That's the good news. The good news is that there is help and there is hope. The bad news is we can't control how everybody else deals with stuff. The name of the book, I just shut the link. Hold on a second. It's called Descriptions and Prescriptions. And then the subtitle is, I got to download it so I can read it because it's so little. The print is like tiny. A biblical perspective on psychiatric diagnoses and medications. Do you have Facebook open? If you do, I can give you the graphic. What do you think? Okay. It's part of the Helping the Helper series. Okay, hold on. I'm going to give this to Randall, so let me give this to him, and then he can put it up there on the screen. Just here a second here. Podcast listeners, you know that I'm still here. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so that's one resource. And then, like I said, Kay Warren's website, kaywarren.com/suicide, because you guys know her son committed suicide. There's actually a suicide loss link on that page at the bottom, and then there's attempt survivors. I can't even talk. Link as well, and then some other stuff there, so you can get help there. In fact, I'll tell you what. Here's the truth. One of the things that prevented me from ultimately taking my life a number of years ago was that I read an article in a newspaper about somebody who had attempted it, and they ended up like completely disabled, completely like marred beyond belief, but completely disabled, and they really screwed up their body physically. And yeah, so I thought, not only that, also, too, here's a true story, and I think I already shared this once, too, but my neighbor, when I was in California, her daughter attempted suicide and found her in her bathroom, called me over, and I saw her, and we had to call 911, and so when you actually are there, the witness, when you could see she OD'd, so when you could see it, it's kind of ugly, the vomit and all that, I mean. And then you saw the ambulance and the paramedics show up and everything. That's one thing. But then I actually had a therapist call 911 on me once. That's a true story. That's how I ended up in the mental hospital the first time, because she actually thought I was going to commit suicide. I wasn't. I had no plan. But when the paramedics and the fire people and all these people descended on my house, it was like, I was like, scared the crap out of me. Honestly. I was like, okay. I'm not even going to mess with this idea again in my head. I'm not even going to entertain the idea, because especially with a good therapist, they're going to send somebody to your house. If someone wants to kill themselves, let them do it. They clearly don't want to carry on. Well, I think that pursuing death isn't part of the natural life cycle. No pun intended. Because I can tell you, in the past, when I've been suicidal, and this was like 20-something years ago, I would get in a car and I would drive, and if somebody swerved and almost cut me off, my intention would be not to get hit, right? So, I mean, your natural reaction is to not slam into the other car. It's to actually swerve out of the way, So you have that innate God-given desire to live. So to me, I don't know how many people could just drive into another car and not, like, flinch or anything, but you'd have to be severely intoxicated or something like that. So, yeah, so that would be hard. You did crime scene processing for a summer in Chicago. So you understand that. I'm sure it was pretty gross. Pretty gnarly. Hey, Rob. Welcome to the show. Becky.
When do you want me to put up the book graphic? I don't want to cover over your face at an inopportune time. So we'll do the
okay, go ahead.
on-screen production here.
Yeah, go for it. Sure, it changes you. I can totally understand that, Phil. Yeah, I was starting. Yeah, I'm middle-aged. Hey, I just messed my words up, just so you know. Okay, so that's the book that I was telling about. It's brand new. I'm not even sure if you can get it at Amazon yet, but it talks about medication and mental illness and stuff from a Christian perspective. Okay. Bye, Jennifer. I'll talk to you later, because I will. Oh, yeah. That can be really hard. People look alive, but you can sense no soul. That's Yeah. That's really hard. That's really hard.
This might be an awkward time to...
To thank our sponsor?
Yes.
Well, this is a show that is sponsored, so we shall do that. We shall thank our sponsor, Ariel Ministries. And by the way, you guys can support us by supporting them and or supporting us. But first, let's tell everybody about Ariel Ministries, which is our sponsor. We're very thankful for. You can go to ariel.org. You can use the coupon code Bible News, which, tells them that you heard about them here on Bible News Radio. And save 20% when you use the coupon code Bible News. And there's lots of books and stuff you can get there. And CDs and DVDs and other fun stuff like that you can get. I'm not even sure, actually, come to think of about suicide. I'm not even sure if they actually have anything on suicide. They might. I could look. I'm going to look right now because I'm curious. They might, Arnold might have written a commentary or something on it. Let's see here. Nope, I don't see anything there. And let's see. Oh, I guess not. But anyway, if you want to learn about the Bible from a Messianic Jewish perspective, which is the correct perspective, and I'm not trying to be funny, it really is, because the Bible is Hebrew and Greek, Aramaic, but it's written within the Jewish context, then their resources are top-notch and very trustworthy. Also, we got the D.L. Cooper Messianic series as well, and you can get that too. It's still on sale. 7 books for $32 or $25 something if you use Bible News as a coupon code. And next month, the Highlights of the Life of Christ series, the Yeshua book, actually will be available with the Harmony of the Gospels, and I think they're going to put that on sale, but I'm not positive. But if you don't want to get all 4 of the Yeshua books, you can get the abridged, highlights book, which would if it was me, well, I'm going to get a copy anyway. But for you guys, I'd highly recommend it because it's just really good stuff. It's really super good stuff. All right. Also, if you want to support the show, and I know a lot of you do, but if you want to support us financially, we're always, can take donations at our PayPal account as well. PayPal.me/Bible News Radio. You can go there, or you can just click through and donate through PayPal on our website. And if you want to become a pillar of the community, $25 a month is what we ask. And the reason why is because not only do we do all this stuff, but we do provide a lot more stuff in our Facebook group for people. And it just helps. Thanks for putting the love out there. Lost my stepdad when I was 8. Oh, that's hard. It's hard. I'm sorry to hear that. So there you go. That's the Pillars of the Community stuff. Also, I have a Bible News Radio course. Oh, and this is the other thing I'm going to start, in case you didn't know this. I'm going to... our Bible News Radio school classroom. Right now, we only have 1 course in there, but I'm going to start an ongoing course, and it's going to be tied to our Challenge of the Month. This month, we're doing the BNR Seek Wisdom Challenge. In fact, I was thinking about starting it this month anyway. It's going to be a free course, basically, where I do a little devotion in there, but you guys would have to sign up for it and all that. And so I'll get that set up, hopefully, as soon as I can get it set up. That's definitive for you guys, just in case you didn't know. But if you want to enroll in our other course, Stop Lying to Yourself, I would highly encourage it. Recommend a child's program or book to study, or Bible study. I actually think that Awana is really good. AWA.org? No, AWANA.org. Awana, AWANA.org. They have really great stuff. In fact, I actually just started teaching Awana at my church. It's geared especially for kids. The other resource I would recommend is anything from Precepts Ministries International. They have kids Bible studies there too that you can get. And so you can do that. Is that a spam question now? Or I don't know if that's a spam because I just answered the question. Do you guys think that's a spam question? I don't know. Anyway, okay, I thought so. Isn't it weird how they did that? So I guess they must have the bot trained to take what you're saying and then somehow do that. It was a copy bot. Okay. Yeah, Awana is so fun. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun when on my thing here. Okay, free. I think this is it right there. Let's block you. All right. So irritating. Okay. What else was I gonna say? So anyway, the school, the class. I know some of you have taken it. If you guys sign up for that, it's $29. That supports Bible News Radio. It's evergreen, which means you can take however long you want to do it. But I am going to set up a free one too. That's what I'm trying to say. That will be ongoing, and so you'll be able to get lessons in there as I create something else too. And that's the other thing I want your help with. You know, if there is a book or a type of study or anything like that you would like me to teach and create for you, let me know, because I have a lot of ideas, but it's silly to create something unless you guys want it. You know? And, you know, it can even be silly. I know a couple of you requested that I do a course on discipleship and Bible study for new believers. And I actually have that. I have that material that Randall actually put together and all that. So we will go ahead and get that up eventually. So, yeah, I know a lot of people love something that's free, but I gotta tell you something. I was doing some research, and this is a true story, and then those of you who are doing online marketing, and I've actually experienced this, so I know it's actually true. People who buy something and pay full price for it are more apt to actually complete it than people who just get it for free, because they don't value, generally, I'm not saying everything, but generally the overall, they don't value it because it's free. It's like you don't really value the work that went into it and all this other stuff. But people who pay full price for something, they're more apt to complete it and $29 is a steal for the 40 hours I put into putting that course together. So it's, you know, and I also invested $80 of my own to put it together. So just so you know. Because the platform it's on, I got to pay for every month, and if I make $40 a month, I break even. If I don't make $40 a month, then I don't break even. So, yeah, I'm not going to marry you. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Bible misconceptions. Yeah, that would be an interesting topic for sure. Interestingly. All right. So, Randall, do you have any thoughts? Do we want to just take questions the rest of the hour? I don't know how much time we have left.
We've got about 11 and a half minutes.
Okay. Well, I know I could cover some news stories if people wanted, but, you know, given the topic at hand, you know, it would be good to just take questions or comments or anything. If did I cover everything, Rick, that I needed to? I gave out the PayPal info so people can get flowers for Andrea. The guest book, that was the other thing. You guys can sign the guest book if you're on Facebook. There's a link where her obituary is. You guys can sign the guest book. I signed the guest book. The hashtag people are using is Purple Queen. And I'm just waiting to see if there's any other thing there. And it got quiet all of a sudden. I see you all, but I don't see any hearts. I don't know if we froze.
I see hearts.
You do? That's weird. I don't see any hearts.
I see yellow hearts.
Really? Okay, now I see brown
Gently
hearts.
floating up.
I was hoping to pass 10 million hearts. Okay, there
Green
they are.
hearts.
Okay.
Brown hearts. A blue heart.
James Joseph. All right. So you guys, I am not getting my steps in on purpose today because I hurt my leg. It's feeling a lot better, and pickleball is tonight. That's why we're doing our show early. So I will get some in tonight. I'll get some more steps in later tonight. I think right now I'm at, let's see here, 1,550. And Bareface went for a walk earlier with the dog. and got some in that way. But I don't know where. I think I was in like 5th place or something before. I don't remember. Are you brother, sister, or husband and wife? James, we are husband and wife. I am the wife. He is the husband.
Brother and sister in the Lord.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We've actually had people ask us that before, if we're brother and sister. Actually suggest that we are, but I said it's because
I sure hope that we're not.
Because of our nose. That would be so funny. Oh my gosh. That would be gross, wouldn't it? No. No, we've been married 25 years. 25 short years. Just so you know. Okay, just ask the same name, sorry. Oh no, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah, no incest here. That's, you know, although we have had that in both of our family of origin, there's incest, which is kind of tragic.
Yes.
Incest is, you know, that's what incest is. Except without the smiley face. Seriously. I should put some teeth in the poop there. Yeah, anyway.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions? We're available for the next 10 minutes to ask, to answer your questions. Oh, that was the other thing.
This is our impromptu press conference,
Hey,
I guess.
I also, yeah, we're having a press conference. No, the other thing, hey, you guys, if you listen to our show and you're on iTunes, if you go into Bible News Radio and review it, that would rock. You know, and it's not really because I care all that much, but it's because more, from what I understand, if more people review it, then we'll actually, you know, get seen more in that. And so it's the Bible News. Okay, there's 2 Bible News radios in iTunes. Okay, you'll see the graphic. It's the one with the black in it because they messed it up. But that's the current one. It's the one with the reviews. The other one has no reviews. I only have 5 reviews. I'd love to get like a lot more. If you do that, then I'll read it on the air, even if it's horrible. Like if you're like, Randall and Stacy suck, they're the worst people on Periscope, this podcast makes me depressed or whatever. If you say anything like that, then I will hunt you down, people. No, I'm just kidding. No, I know some people like to write reviews just for it to be mean, but you know, preferably I prefer a good review. I mean, you can be honest. Yeah, like she talks too much. No. You watched yesterday on YouTube? Okay, cool. Well, and that's the other thing. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, I think I'm 13 away now from 100. You know, I'd like to get 100. How do you guys do that split screen? Okay, Bareface, you can answer that question.
All right, do I have a, yeah. We do it like this. This is using an application called Wirecast.
No, we're not on Skype.
We're not in Skype. We're in the same room.
Skype actually crashes with Wirecast, so we don't use it.
Anyway, clear that back to here.
We use Zoom when we do interviews. We have people use the Zoom platform and all that.
Anyway, so just video switcher. And, no, put myself back on, I guess.
Yeah, so we use Wirecast, which originally was like a $600 program, and now they've upgraded. There's like a new version which is what, another $100 or something.
$800.
Yeah. So that's the other thing.
We got the discount because we
bought the
premium support.
Yeah.
Upgrade for half price, but it's now an $800 application.
We're not scoping with the iPhone. We're actually scoping on a desktop.
Yeah, just feeding an RTMP stream through Wirecast to Periscope Producer.
Yeah.
What they call Periscope Producer. But it's just really they just open up an RTMP stream that you can send a video stream to.
Yes, Melanie, you're going to have to log into Zoom, and then we'll take that. We'll push it out here to our Periscope feed. So yeah, so basically the production of this show is the equipment that we have is not cheap to do it, and we're going to upgrade too. So that's
But it's cool these days.
That's the other thing there. So
you know, with Periscope, Facebook Live, Ustream, YouTube, fill in the blank, you know, all these internet live streaming, video streaming platforms, plus this good software which isn't really cheap, but lighting, and we're using a couple webcams now. You can scope on laptops, desktops, tablets, smartphones. Yeah, it's great. You basically can run a TV channel out of your house these days.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing is, we actually, after this show, I rip the audio from the show, I upload it to our Spreaker channel, and that pulls it into an RSS feed into iTunes, and I also take the MP4 file I download from Fullscope, and I upload that manually over there to YouTube. Doesn't just happen. It doesn't just show up over there magically. I actually do all that too, so that is one of the other things that we do, so... yeah. And I think Randall is going to put together a live streaming course, right, on how to do this?
I was going to, because there was someone interested in me teaching. Well, it was going to be with OBS, using OBS. But they've come to the point where they're busy and say, hey, just do it for me.
So that's the other thing. Randall is, venturing out into doing production for people and shows like this. So if you happen to be somebody who wants the show produced like this,
have it done for you.
Randall actually has a price sheet that he put together. If that's something that interests you. See, because look, this is the thing. This is... Bible News Radio is our job. Chapel Hill Media is Randall's company. Okay, we make a little bit of money from our pillars of the community and our sponsor. And Randall makes money with Chapel Hill Media creating videos and stuff. But as you guys know, we produced Vicki's show for about 8 months. So he really got really good at it. And if it's something that you guys want him to do, it's something also that you could, I think doing a course, though, would be also good, Bareface.
Yeah, it would be.
Because there are people doing it, but there's not a lot of people doing it.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people doing it every day like we do it. And even I can do some of it now, too, because, it's.
Yeah, I've said this before, and I chuckle to myself. Hopefully I'm not too far behind the curve. In 2016, we went to the summit, it was actually the Periscope Summit at that time. It became Summit Live a year later, dealing with all sorts of live streaming. But when we went to the Periscope Summit in January 2016, right? Anyway, I had in one of the workshops there, they had a television producer and all these tech gurus and stuff like that. And I had pitched the question, because Periscope had just introduced landscape format. There we go, because I thought, external cameras, stuff like that, which they didn't offer yet. And I pitched the question, how do you think...
Hi, Angela. Welcome to the broadcast. Glad you're here.
I asked, how do you think an audience would receive a produced program, much like a television program? Multi-camera, lower thirds, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, I don't know. The whole thing about live streaming is raw and it's real, and people are getting away from the whole television thing. And he said, well, I guess it would depend upon the content, whatever. And they were kind of skeptical. And then a year later, everybody's doing it. Everyone's going to the fully produced video, and more so. So as time goes on, those who are not doing that, they're gonna stand out as slackers, and I think there'll always be.
Okay, I agree and disagree. I think there's two or three different audiences that we're talking about. Number one, you have businesses. Yeah. I think businesses would be smart to invest in live streaming.
Well, anyone who's interested in like a full-time sort of thing.
Right. I just think that yeah. Okay, so there's that. I think people in ministry, if God has truly called you to the ministry, like he has me and Randall, I think it's smart because it gives you a structured platform.
Right.
And I think if you're somebody who, is and people like Raw and Real, right? I do Raw and Real all the time, but if I have a resource or an actual paid sponsor, which we do with Ariel, I want to give them, a good plug. I don't want to just go to Ariel Ministries, blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, no, here's a graphic. Here's what they look like. Here's the product that they're highlighting they want you to get. I think that's important. And I think a lot of people, and myself included, I don't watch TV. I don't. Periscope is my TV. I mean, if you want to call it TV, Periscope is my TV. Periscope is where I get connected because people, I mean, we're all here. I mean, it used to be years ago. Here's the true story. I used to collect the TV Guide when I was a kid, right? Literally. I actually used to have a suitcase full of TV Guide magazines, which would probably be worth a ton of money now.
Could be.
Because they're, whatever. But the thing is I have no idea who the heck most of these people are. I mean, if I hear them, I'm like, huh? What? I mean, the extent of my TV watching, even when we had live streaming, we had Hulu and we had Netflix. Got rid of Netflix because I never used it. And then Hulu, me and Randall would watch Shark Tank. That was it. We watched Shark Tank and Undercover Boss, I think. It's kind of like whatever. And now I don't care. It's like, because it goes back to the idea of, and I think this is the appeal of live streaming, people like real people. But it's not a bad thing. Wow. You all collected TV Guides? How weird are we? That is weird. Melanie and Rick and me all collected the TV Guide. That's just weird. That's just weird. But, that's the thing. People like to be able to interact. Do you have Right Now Media? It's Christian-based Netflix. It has studies on it. I don't understand that question.
No. Right Now Media. I guess it's like a channel name or a platform. Right Now Media.
Never heard of it.
No.
I watched Big Brother on here. Okay. I think I saw the first season of that. I didn't even know that show's still on, Melody. But,
we are over time, just so you know.
I know. But anyway, so that, that's basically, I think people want real, but I also think that people want to watch something decent. If your microphone sucks and people can't understand you, then, you guys never actually collect TV Guides. You just never threw them away, right? Well, no, I did throw them away.
I.e., it was a passive collection. It was just you collect them by virtue of not throwing them out.
True.
Rather than an active collector kind of.
But yeah, okay. So before we sign off, because I know we're gonna go off in a couple minutes. There's Jefferoni, Mr. I have more steps than you. I'm better than you are. So what is it you guys like about live streaming? I mean, really, what is it? Is it the fact that, you get a direct, hot-looking woman like me you can look at every day? Or, no, I'm just kidding. Or, I mean, what is it? What is it? Is it something, like, what is it? I mean, I could tell you what I like is I like real people talking about real stuff. And you love the interaction. I'm ahead? Really? I don't know how that happened. It's not fake news. That's true. I love to get the news on here. Yeah, that's kind of what today's show was going to be about, but I made it more about other stuff, and of course our friend died, so that sucks. The real people connection. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why Periscope meetups are great. And if you guys go to Periscope Summit, like next year in February in California, you guys can meet me in Bareface. I mean, would that thrill you? No, I'm just kidding. No, it would. It would. Because I know I'd be like, oh my gosh, there's Rick. Oh my gosh, there's Jefferoni. Oh my gosh, there's Melanie. I'd be like hugging you and stuff. And oh, I thought you were saying you were ahead of me. I'm not ahead of you. You're like, you have all these steps. Aren't you a car salesman or something? Because don't you walk around all day? Isn't that what you do? It's so not fair. Being in this challenge with Cynthia is not fair either because she runs.
Jefferoni, she was giving you like a hyphenated name, like as if that was your quote. Hey, I'm Jefferoni. I've got more steps than you.
Oh yeah.
Last name, right?
Only 103,000 hearts to go to get 10 million. You're not very well. I actually used to work in a car dealership for 3 years. So. Yeah, just so you know. True story. I actually, one of my goals
Phil, you're welcome for whatever I did.
was to actually become a service writer. Yeah, really. When I was 18 years old, I got hired at Toyota Riverside in Southern California. I worked there in the service department for 3 years, and I was the service office secretary, the youngest person on staff, the only Christian in the whole department. And God brought in a woman named Eve, who I got to train. She was like in her 50s. And anyway, long story short, I eventually got the idea. I got the title of office manager in the back, but then they actually offered me an opportunity to become a service writer. And at that time, I was like, I don't know. As you know, Jeff, the dealership industry is very lucrative. Mechanics, don't call them that because they'll hit you, because they're actually technicians. They're very smart people, computer trained, very brilliant men who they got really offended when anybody would call them a mechanic or a grease monkey. But I worked when the Lexus came out, and I worked there for 3 years until the owner of Toyota of Orange, his name was Dave Wilson, actually got he bought out Joe Redford's Toyota Riverside.
This is the short version of the story,
it
just
is.
so you know.
Anyway, long story short. And so anyway, I left because God called me to work at Focus on the Family with Dr. James Dobson at that point. So I got a job at Focus on the Family, left Toyota, and never went back into the dealership industry. But the hardest thing about that was that the income I was making at Focus on the Family was half the pay of Toyota. So there's a lot of money that I could have made in the as a service writer and stuff. I know, right? I mean, but yeah, because they flagged hours and all that other stuff. Now that I met my weight goal, I only walk 10,000 steps a day. Good. I am happy for you. You know the problem with walking 10,000 steps a day is...
Was there a moral to that story, or was it just
what?
An FYI?
What are you talking about?
The short, long story you just told.
I was just sharing with Jeff Roney. I used to work at a car dealership.
Okay, so that was the point.
Yeah.
All right. There's just
How long have you known me?
There's just so many other things in there. Focus on the Family and Eve and anyway.
Right. No, Christians don't pay really that well at all unless you're a false teacher and people throw money at you because they're lying to you saying, prosperity this and blah, blah, and blah, 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 blah. Sow seed here and get, $10 million back for blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you live on my income. Go for it. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, anyway. What I was going to say, it's hard to get 10,000 steps when you have a desk job, because for me it takes over 2 hours to do that. Easy, 2 hours, 2.5 hours on the treadmill just to get 10,000 steps a day. That's a big chunk of time out of my day. Just so you know, in case you didn't know that. But anyway.
Or just file your taxes. There's a few thousand steps in there. Box 12.
One of my friends at Pickleball actually told me, hi Hannah, Butterfly Lady. One of my friends at Pickleball actually said, because I was saying, hey, we both got a Fitbit. How come we're not connected? He's like, yeah, the other day, and we were both looking. We were like, okay, you got 7,000? Okay, I got 7,000. This was when we were playing pickleball yesterday. And he's like, yeah, the other day I was on my riding lawnmower. And next thing you know, it's like recording. He looked down on his Fitbit, and he got like 14,000 steps. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Tie your feet to a motorized stair stepper. There you go. Right. You're welcome. How's he doing? Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so there's so many ways. I could go ahead and tie my Fitbit onto Grover and get more steps in the day, but, would that be ethical, people? Mine Fitbit is charged too. Yeah, I don't know what mine is. I forgot, but yeah. Anyway, yay! That's awesome. All right, so Randall is going to do daily disciples, or should I?
If you've got something, I mean, I've been doing the Life of Messiah series, but I haven't read the next section, so.
Yeah. Well, do you just want to...
Wing it?
Wing it? Not that we ever do that here on the show. We never win
No.
Bible News Radio.
Okay. Keep praying.
But anyway, if you just came in, we want to just tell everybody that, you know, our condolences go out to Andrea's family in Canada, which Larissa shared that she hated it when she was referred to that. So I did that just for fun because I paid attention to Larissa earlier. And if you guys didn't see Minister Pam's scope earlier today, you just realized that we're married, really? I know, you're new to the show, basically.
Fortunately, we figured it out 25 years ago.
Yeah. You want to put yourself on screen? I'll go over there so they can see we're actually in the same room. Wait, hold on. Well, then you can see what we look like as a couple.
Well, because side by side, that doesn't show you.
But it's more fun this way, right? Oh, yeah. See how much older he looks than me? It's because he really is. He's like, what, 4 years older than me?
I don't know why this thing hums when... Now I got to figure out this microphone
Do I
situation.
look darker on this side of the camera?
Yes, you do, because there's not as much lighting over here.
I don't look like, am I 29? Is that what? Yeah, that's it. In dog years. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Aw, I can barely read this.
Really? Beautiful is beautiful. You both look
That's
young.
that's very small. Remember, I don't have your super vision.
All right, well, this microphone isn't big enough for the both of us.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right, so I'll come back over here.
And we should be, it is darker on this side, because she's got the lighting over there.
That's because I'm the girl, right?
All right, we should...
Gotta make the girl look the best, right? Uh-huh, yeah.
We should wrap this thing up. We're like,
Okay.
almost 13 minutes over.
Are you going to do Daily Disciples, though?
I have to. It's Thursday.
Okay, and the reason we're doing this is because we love God's Word, just so you know. Oops, wait a minute. I got this thing here. All right, and tomorrow is Free for All Friday, just so you know. And so what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to just talk about whatever we want to talk about, unlike every other day on the show. And then, let's see here. Let's see. Then next week, I have Owen Video on the show on Wednesday. He's a YouTube celebrity and a believer. He went through cancer. He's a young guy. Not a fun guy, but a young guy. And he'll be my guest on Wednesday. Thursday, Melanie Weiser. Melanie, put your icons up, put your emojis up, or whatever you want to call it. Melanie Weiser. How many of you know who Melanie is? Because she's our #1 super fan. And the pillar of the community. And, you know, she's been around for a long time. And she's actually one of the hidden gems in our community, I think. And I think more people need to see Melanie for who she is. See, that's her right there. See, she's our guest next week. She didn't want to come on today. She's making me wait a whole week. But that's all right. So, now we're actually, the show Bible News Radio is on Monday through Friday. Saturday, we generally take the day off. Sunday, Randall does the evening scope. We used to do this 7 days a week, but it just got to be too much. We used to do it twice a day, 7 days a week, and it just got too much. We needed some rest. So, yeah.
Biblical.
What are you going to talk about? I'm going to ask you every single question in this box right here until it's done. That's what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to come up with some A-list guest questions that you don't know yet. They'll be just for you. We'll figure it out. All right.
All right.
We'll do a whole hour if you want to do an hour. I thought you only wanted to do half hour. But Green's Indian Lyra Dictionary questions. Cool. And 4 Bubba's Love. Okay. All right. So you guys, thanks for coming in. Pray for Andrea's family. If you want to donate again, Pastor Rick, paypal.me/Rick Costa. You can donate to add to the flowers that we're going to send her family. And Rick said that it was probably complications to epilepsy. Yeah. So, by the way, we also have Greg Harvey, who's going to be on our show at some point, and also Becky. Becky's coming on our show too. She's got quite the testimony too, so I think you guys will enjoy that. All right, so when are you going to come on for your Daily Disciple thingy?
I don't know, maybe around 4.
Around 4? Okay. Okay, so join Randall in about 45 minutes for the daily Bible study. And again, don't forget, if you want to sponsor Bible News Radio, or you want help with live streaming, or you want to take our course, all that stuff, all the links to everything in our Scope thingy is right there. Just click the link in our Periscope bio.
Profile.
And it will take you literally to every link. I want to thank again all of you guys for just coming in, just for being part of the community. You guys are a great group of people. You really are. And if you don't know you're loved, you are. Remember, I always end every show by saying, be bold, stand up, and go with God because he loves you. I don't add that last part for fun. I add it because it's true. He loves you. And you know what? You have something to offer somebody. So do it. Me, I'm going to offer people the other end of a pickleball later today, just so you know. And I'm going to go eat my lunch right now because I'm super hungry. So give somebody a hug today. Let them know you love them. And we'll see you back. We'll see you soon. Okay? All right.